And now, your host, Couch Tomato!
All right, before we get into that, I did mention last week that I was going to start a private chat, and actually, for the people who have supported us up to this point, I really appreciate it. You're actually invited to that, private group me, so we could discuss topics that we don't necessarily get to discuss in the comment section, like Black Panther. So if you are a Patreon member, just sign up for the GroupMe app if you haven't already. Go ahead and send me either the phone number attached to it or the email address attached to it. Try to attach your email so that way I could actually just add you into the GroupMe chat, and we could just discuss this topic as well as trailers, etc. If you aren't a Patreon supporter, feel free to head over. $3 a month, which is less than like a movie ticket, helps support the podcast, the channel, and everything that we're doing. But it also gives you that connection to us where we get to stay connected throughout the week. So thanks there. And moving along, you wanted to get to this, so do I. Let's talk about the low-key best part of this movie.
Yep.
Can we talk about the villain real quick?
Yes, we can.
So, all right. So this guy's story starts off in Oakland, California during 1992. If you've watched Civil War, some people will be foolish enough to make the correlation to, hey, that's the same time Tony's father died. But no, I automatically, it's in California, and I grew up as a Different World fan. So as a kid, at a young age, I was always familiar with the 1992 LA riots. And basically that plays a significant role in this movie. So I agreed with this father during the first conversation.
Yeah.
And I think Disney, I think they read comment sections, and I think they're sick and tired of people picking at their villains. I think Disney knows how to make a great villain, or should I say bad villain, bad in a good way. They don't have the time. It's like, if you're making $1 billion every time, and then if you put a good villain in the movie and you only make $1 billion and 2 cents, there's no incentive to make great villains or great stories for that matter. So I think Michael B. Jordan is the director's muse. Mm-hmm. You know, they've been in 3 films, and they've got a 4th one coming out.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're gonna have a 15 more because they're both young, so it's a wrap.
It's Scorsese and Leo, or if you want to say Scorsese and what's your De Niro? De Niro. There we go. Yeah,
it's like, so that's what it is now. It's like they found each other, so it's a wrap.
Exactly. It's like everything that he's gonna put him in every movie that he has. It's like Samuel L. Jackson and Quentin Tarantino. Yep. So I think they're homeboys, and he was on some, hey, look, man, I know you dealing with Fantastic Four, and that's not going the way you want. I just got a job from Disney. I want to bring you in, but it's the bad guy, but I'm gonna make you look good. I'm really gonna help out your story arc, because you could tell the director put a lot of effort into making the villain make sense. So it's a little kid that grew up in the ghetto. He saw the 1992 LA riots. Mm-hmm. He hears about his father's home country and realizes they've done nothing to intervene.
Yep.
When they have the resources that could heal the world from a medicine standpoint, and they have the weapons that could, help the world from a tactical standpoint. So there's some resentment there. And I agreed with them, up until the point where he sat on that throne. That's when he started tripping on some Joffrey stuff. But so I love them, and I know you had a couple of points that you wanted to bring up. I mean, is there anything that I missed?
Nah, it's like you said, like when his father made that speech, they're heavily incarcerated, over policed, communities flooded with drugs, and it's just like, you're just listening to his speech, you're like, yeah, like he's right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this ain't. Bro, did you hear T'Challa? These ain't my people. I'm the king of these people. I was like, bro, you tripping right now, man. Like, kind of tripping, dude. You kind of tripping. Yeah. So I agree with him for most of the movie. And like I said, after he beat down T'Challa during that first match and got power, he went a little too far. That's when I think Disney stepped in, and they were like, they rolled up their sleeve and I was like, hey, great script. However, we need to make this guy a bad guy, you guys. So some of that stuff didn't make sense, because when he was originally talking, I'm like, all right, I get you. But then soon as he stepped into leadership, his leadership intangibles were really suspect. Yeah. He went from saying he wanted to empower the disenfranchised to trying to start a world war. Yeah. And I was like, bro, just chill out. And then you're not even like, one thing is, because I know there's now I'm being nitpicky, but it's his first couple hours in power. The only thing he does is change his outfit, and then he starts sending out military weapons. Like, he didn't address his people. A lot of people don't even know that the King of Wakanda is like changed power, and he didn't even meet his war dogs. Like, he's just like, hey, you know, they'll fall in line soon. He just starts sending weapons in less than 24 hours after sitting on the throne. And I was like, man, I would like for people to have left the movie and agreed with him 100% or agreed with Black Panther 100%. I wanted that Martin versus Malcolm type thing, to where it's like, hey, both of these guys aren't necessarily wrong. You could agree with anyone, but then he started tripping when he got, you know, the throne. So, you know what they could have done, because one of my bold predictions, and I told you this, Hulk, and I said it on a previous podcast, I kept saying, I don't think Claw is the bad guy. And the reason I said that is, if you look at Claw's scenes in the trailer, you could only count 2 scenes. I see the car chase and I see an interrogation scene. I would, that's like, there's 24 scenes in the movie sometimes. So, you know, like, but with Michael B. Jordan, I'm counting like 8 different scenes. So he's at best in 30% of the movie. Mm-hmm. You know, so now it's like, I don't think they're gonna kill him, because the fact that I knew him and Ryan had a relationship, I don't think you bring on a homeboy to kill him. So I'm like, I think they're gonna set him up like a Loki, like he's not necessarily a bad guy and he's gonna get to live. I was completely wrong, and rather than copping out like Disney usually does and afraid to kill characters, this was on some gangster movie type stuff. Like, he went out, and I think they sold more toys that way, because I think he's a lot of people's favorite character. Like, I'm reading people's timeline and they liked him more than Black Panther. They say he's the second best villain in MCU history next to Loki.
To me, he's first. To me, he's kind of first. But
I got him at first too, but I understand why people like Loki more. So, like I said, for me, he's my favorite. But I'm like, wow, to be in top 2, there's only 2 villains that work probably. Well, you got, wow, you know, people aren't really considering Winter Soldier. So that was a villain too. So I don't know if they were putting him in that mix, but I'm putting him over Winter Soldier and I'm putting him over Loki. But I don't think you have I don't think you have a beef or quarrel with any of those 3 options. And I think his death, number one, he had the coldest line in the movie: bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships, because they knew death was better than bondage. And I've always felt that way from a biblical standpoint. I'm just like, when you research what bondage means, I'm like, man, I'll go ahead and take this 10 seconds of pain rather than this lifetime of hurt. So I thought that was the coldest line in the movie. And for me, I was surprised Disney even greenlit this script, because Disney doesn't typically do things this risky. And there's a lot of risky lines.
Cursing too. I was surprised.
The cursing, I'm not upset about. I'm not upset about this either.
I'm surprised that they allowed some of it in.
The cursing, I think they're starting to become laxed with that, because it's PG-13. However, it's the content. You know, usually when Disney wants to do content like this, they put it on Touchstone. But with this, there's a lot of correlations with America and how they play in society. And if you got a couple notes, feel free to share. There's obviously some correlations with our political climate today. Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, for sure. The first thing I thought about was the refugee aspect. I don't know if you remember that part where he's talking to I forgot his character's name, but Daniel Kuya, where they're talking about the refugees, how if you let them in, you're letting them in with your problems. And it was just like, it reminded me of some of the stuff we're going through with Syria, and how, you know, we don't know what to do with that situation. Like, should we let the refugees in? As far as, you know, immigration policies as well, like, you know, having a wall, you know, being, you know, we have all these resources here in America, you know, funding, you know, money, all that stuff. Do we necessarily want to go out there and outsource it to the world and like try to help out the world, or should we just, you know, be closed, have a build a wall, be closed off, you know, to the rest of the world and things like that?
It sounds like Wakanda is America.
Yeah, and which I thought was pretty interesting, like just like how they have all these resources, and then they're conflicted on whether they should try to help the world and and fight their problems as well. So
you like tomato
and you like tomato,
potato,
potato,
tomato,
tomato.
Let's go.